In this episode of the 90s and Noughties UK podcast, I discuss Noel's house party with Hayley, I talk Star, Disney Plus's new portal, and Tanya is my guest for celebrity birthdays.
This is 90s and Noughties UK, a podcast on UK pop culture of the 90s and 2000s. If you want to contact the show, email 90sandnoughties@gmail.com, tweet us on @90sandnoughties UK on Twitter, or check us out on Facebook, 90s and Noughties UK.
Welcome to this edition of the 90s and Noughties UK podcast with me, Jamie.
And me, Hayley.
Again, I've been going and looking up things and researching, and I see that in this sort of week in 1999, they announced that Noel's house party was to end after nearly a decade on the air, and specials aired until 2000, but it ended on March the 20th, the regular series, but it was in this week that they announced it was to end. Did you watch that show back in the day, Hayley?
Yes, I did. I always remember it being on a Saturday night. Big Mr. Blobby fan. I still like Mr. Blobby now. He's awesome.
He was terrifying.
He was. I know what you mean, but he's cute. It's right, and he had his own song and everything, didn't he? It was like a really big. He had a Christmas number one out of it. So.
Well, he did. That was definitely a moment in time, but it's funny how that's kind of the thing. It was a gotcha that I think went a little bit wrong, and there was even a theme park for Mr. Blobby at one point.
There was, yes. I can remember that. It must have been on the same time that the show went off the air. I'm not sure, but I remember the place closing down as well. So
yes, it was known to be standing derelict for years.
It was, yeah.
It was certainly one of those grabby headlines that would say, you know, guess what? Which theme park is now standing derelict? Which is unfortunate, really, because back in the day it was this amazing Saturday night thing, and it was part of the BBC schedule, and it really followed on from a lot of the work that Noel Edmonds had done with his work on the radio, the Late Breakfast Show, the other things that he did. It was like nothing else. No,
it wasn't what you were just saying about the theme park. I remember them saying about this was Blobby's house, look at what it looks like now, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. Those headlines must haunt him. And
I know.
Was the show that Getting Axed that kind of ended his TV career for about 5 years until Deal or No Deal.
Exactly. He kind of made the comeback with that, didn't he?
Yeah, it was. Were you a fan of Deal or No Deal?
Again, I didn't mind it. It'd be something that I'll put on in the background as such, but it was okay. I didn't mind it. Wasn't Ollie Murs a contestant on it at one point?
He was, yeah. Yeah, that's right. To go back to the main subject here, the Noel's house party, like we said, it was a revolutionary show. They had some amazing guests on there. A lot of them turn up on YouTube a lot of the time. I know that Clive Dunn, who played Jones in Dad's Army, made an appearance. And it was funny because obviously when he played him the first time round in Dad's Army, he was a young man playing an old man. And now he'd kind of grown into the role of which when he appeared on the thing.
Forgive me if I'm wrong when I say this, but did they have like a big theme about who was behind the door?
Yes.
Like they'd ring the bell or something. You remember the bell ringing and then, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that there were a lot of things like that. I mean, I don't know whether you watched that Ant and Dec special at New Year that was on a couple of years ago, but they put it into one show instead of as part of Takeaway. Did you see that?
Oh, did they? No, I didn't see that, no.
Where they were trying to find out who the Knight was, and the Knight turned out to be Noel Edmonds. And
okay.
Noel Edmonds in this sketch was basically saying that Ant and Dec had stolen everything that that House Party had stood for.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's a wonderful piece of television because as he was reeling off,
I bet it was actually
all the features of Noel's House Party, it's like, yeah, that's basically Takeaway. The idea of appearing in somebody's home immediately, sort of started with that show.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a shame, and its presence is still missed. But do we think that Noel could have a TV comeback anytime soon? Another one?
I mean, never say never. I mean, you don't know, do you? I mean, I can't see why not. Like, he could, but we'll have to wait and see what happens, I guess.
We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Well, there we are. Now, Hayley, what time is it?
It's time for the main feature.
And once again, it is me, by myself, giving my thoughts on a 90s or noughties subject. But before I get there, I would like to say that if you want some extra content, then I would recommend going to check out the interview that I did in the last week with Martin Delaney, the actor who played Jason Summerby in the Renford Rejects. If you were a fan of that show growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, I recommend going to check out that interview. It's about an hour long, and we go through all sorts of different things, and it's something I enjoyed very much, and I'm glad to get that extra content out. It's great. But the subject of this particular monologue, as I will call it in this instance, is more concerned with what's happening now in relation to the 90s and noughties. So the streaming game is pretty much hotting up right now. Disney Plus recently dropped their Star portal, which is supposed to be giving us some more adult orientated content, and this is TV, movies, mostly from their other studios that they either own or have recently acquired, such as 20th Century Fox. So if you are a fan of 80s film, 90s film, even 2000s film, there are loads of options on there for you. But my main kind of draw is all of the 2000s and in some cases 90s TV shows that have landed because it's more adult orientated. We're talking about the likes of American Dad, Family Guy, of which there's something like 18 seasons on there of Family Guy. It's been running a long time now. We got Buffy the Vampire Slayer, How I Met Your Mother, some proper staples if you grew up watching Channel 4 or even BBC 2 around 6-ish. Futurama is on there, which is a must-watch if you're a fan of The Simpsons, which is also on there, and adult animation. Grey's Anatomy is on there, and I think those shows have been on 4OD at several different points, but I'm not sure about right now. We've got Lost 24. There's some amazing pieces of television from the 90s and noughties in there. So if you're in the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, etc., anywhere around Europe, I do recommend going to check this out. Now, this is not an add-on. This is simply something they've added to Disney Plus, and I realise that Disney is known somewhat as an adjective for children's entertainment, which I understand where that's come from, but at the same time, I don't understand. Because, it's for everybody in some way. But don't worry, they have you covered if you're worried about your children seeing anything that they shouldn't. They put these parental controls in place. So the first time you log in, they'll ask you, and you can have all the adult stuff knocked off. And the thing is, even without it, there are some classic Disney movies in there, some great 90s stuff. I look forward to seeing Pixel Perfect and Blank Check, which is on there. I've not seen those two films for a long time. And plus lots of other legacy content as well. So yeah, it's a really exciting time if you are a fan of just television in general. A lot of the advertising will be talking about the newer stuff, the originals they've got coming up, but believe me, there are some great stuff from yesteryear on there as well. So it is relevant to this podcast. Things I would like to see. Well, I've heard that the Golden Girls is coming, so that's exciting. All of the series, unlike when they were repeated on Channel 5 quite recently. And I would like to see Home Improvement, and basically anything that was made by ABC Comedy during the 90s. Someone mentioned Hope and Faith at one point, which used to play on ABC One on Freeview a few years ago. What a great show that is. Wouldn't mind seeing things like the Gina Davis Show, basically anything they played on there. And also, I guess as well, now that I think about it, dinosaurs. Where is dinosaurs? We need that on Disney Plus. So that's the big story, I think, for this week. And I apologize again for rambling, but I am just really excited because there's a lot of great films on there from the 80s, 90s and 2000s that I've never had the chance to see, that I will now, thanks to this new thing from Disney Plus. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of people on Twitter are saying, I didn't know Disney owned this. This isn't Disney. It's like, well, it wasn't made by them. It was made by Fox. I mean, the X-Files as well is on there. Good job I got that in. Otherwise, I'd be getting angry emails. I find streaming such an exciting thing. And Disney certainly seem to be playing the game, as it were. What's going to happen to the other services now that most of their content, or some of the Fox content, might not cross over into other platforms and might just stay in that one home on Star? I cannot wait to see where this goes, and I will update in a regular feature on this podcast about streaming services, because, you know, those shows from the 90s and noughties live on. And now it's time for a regular feature on the podcast. It's time for Celebrity Birthdays. And the Celebrity Birthday guesser this week is a returning guest. Welcome back, Tanya. Tell us about the radio station that you work for.
Hey, Jamie. So I work for Burgess Hill Radio, a community radio station in Burgess Hill, and I'm currently doing 2 breakfast shows and a mid-morning show. Excellent.
Well, I do say to people, go and check that out, and let's play Celebrity Birthdays. Now, I will explain for those who haven't heard previously. There is a celebrity birthday happening in the week of this broadcast, and somebody 90s and noughties related, someone who was popular in either era or maybe even both. Tanya basically asks me in a 20 questions style, questions about that person to try and get their identity. And of course, they're yes and no questions. None of this where were they born stuff. It's all yes and no, nice and simple. So if we can have the first question now, excellent. Without further ado, Tanya, start your questioning.
Okay. Are they a man?
Yes.
Man. Is he a singer?
He has done a little bit of singing, but it would be unfair of me to say he was a singer.
Okay. Is he an actor?
Again, he's done a little bit of acting, but it would be unfair of me to call him an actor.
Does he work on TV?
He has worked on TV, but I think he's more known for another medium.
Radio?
Yes, he is known for being on the radio.
So being on the radio. It's not Chris Evans, is it?
No, it's not Chris Evans.
Okay. So it's a bit of singing, a bit of TV. Is he a household name?
I would say he used to be a household name, certainly in the period in which we're talking about, slap bang in the middle. I would say, yeah, he was a household name.
Okay. When he kind of rose to fame, was he in his 30s?
Well, he was quite young, actually. He was quite young, yes.
So young guy in radio and a bit of a household name. Okay, so this is about... Did he work for Capital Radio?
I believe he's done a little bit of Capital, yes.
Is he still a radio presenter now?
Yes.
Okay, radio presenter now. Does he work for BBC Radio 2 now?
He doesn't work for Radio 2 now, no.
Does he work for BBC?
He no longer works for the BBC.
Oh my God! This is where I'm going to exhaust all the radio presenters I know. Okay, does he like a particular genre of music?
I wouldn't say so. And if I'm to be fair, I don't think when he was doing his particular programme, he was that interested in the music.
Oh, so was it more talk radio?
It wasn't talk radio, but I think any fans of music radio would say it was.
And was he a TV presenter as well?
He did a little bit of TV presenting, yes.
It's not Jamie Theakston.
No, it's not Jamie Theakston, but you're in the right ballpark.
Oh my God.
You're in the right ballpark.
Okay. So 90s.
I would say I will give you another clue here.
Yes,
I give you a short date. He joined the BBC in the late 90s, and he left in around 2012.
Oh.
So he was there for a long period of time, but before he joined the BBC, he was with a lot of commercial rivals, but you would probably know him best for his stint.
It's not Danny Baker.
It's not Danny Baker, no, but again, you're getting closer and closer.
Chris Moyles.
Yeah, you've got it.
Oh, yay!
You've got it, yeah. That's it, yeah. It's his birthday in the week of this broadcast, and yeah, you've got it, because of course he joined the BBC in around 97, did early breakfast, got the breakfast show in 2004, left in 2012 after becoming the longest running Radio 1 breakfast show host, and of course did TV. He did Chris Moyles' Quiz Night, and he has done the odd acting stint. I think he was in Hotel Babylon and other bits and pieces, and now he works for Radio X, which predominantly plays sort of indie music, but people always knew him more as the guy that just talked for hours. So yeah, I mean, his autobiography is called something like The Story of a Man and His Mouth.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I don't think I've actually heard any of his shows or anything. I've heard him being interviewed and stuff.
Wow, that's a surprise. That is a surprise. He was very popular at one point, but then I'm only listening to it in retrospect, so I completely get what you're saying there. But well done for getting that, and in not many questions either.
Oh, good! Yay! Well, you gave me a couple of hints. It does help. Thank you.
Well, yeah, that's part of the charm, I think, of this particular feature. Well, for this feature, I'd like to say happy birthday to Chris Moyles, who turns 47 on the 22nd of February. And Tanya, thank you for joining us on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me, Jamie.
Thank you for listening to 90s and Noughties UK, a podcast on UK pop culture of the 90s and 2000s. Please remember to rate, comment and subscribe on your favourite podcast provider. If you want to contact the show, email 90esandnoughties@gmail.com, tweet us on @90esandnoughties UK on Twitter, or check us out on Facebook, 90s and Noughties UK.